Hello and welcome, guys. Today we continue talking about communication skills. In the previous video we talked about active listening, empathy and silence. And today in particular we're going to talk about supportive questioning or positive focus questioning. Personally, this is my favorite. I really love using it with clients and I really love using it with myself and just in general. I love this technique. It comes from solution-focused brief therapy. You know, as most therapies focus on negatives or on problems, solution-focused therapy focuses on solution and also on strong sides of the person and how they manage certain things, their skills, their advantages, their talents, and so on and so on. So basically on the positive things. And this kind of question can be used both in positive situations and in negative situations. Like for example, if somebody is telling you about their successes, you can use positive focused questioning to maintain conversation and make them share even more, and the person will love it most often. Or you can use this positive focused questioning when the other person is telling you about some difficult life circumstances or difficult situations, and then it's also fine. Of course, some people might find it not suitable to ask positive questions when it comes to difficult situations. So at first, make sure to use active listening and to use empathy, because they make sure, those previous skills make sure that the person is feeling understood and accepted and that their feelings are being validated and so on and so on. And after that, you can start using positive questioning. So what exactly is this technique? This technique is that you are trying to find something cool or something that you can admire about the person and ask them, how did you manage to do that? How did you come to be like that? And basically asking them, how do they manage? And you can use it in both good things and bad things. Like for example, let's talk about good things first. Your friend is telling you that they went to gym yesterday, and your positive question would be like, wow, how did you manage that? What helped you to do that? You know, many people struggle going to the gym and you manage to do that. How are you doing it? And this can be the beginning of a very fruitful conversation, both for you and for your friend, because you can exchange your life hacks, you can exchange how your thinking works and what motivates you or what doesn't motivate you, what kind of approaches help you organize your life. And everyone is different, and it can be very thought-provoking conversation, interesting for both of you. And on the other hand, it can be also just very flattering and pleasant for the other person to talk about it and to recognize their strong parts, because oftentimes we're used to thinking about negative parts but not about our positive sides. And I also recommend you so much using this question with your children or with any children that you encounter, because, you know, just saying like, oh, pretty drawing is not that much attention and it doesn't make the child think much or appreciate what they have done. However, if you ask this positive questioning to the child, it's really wonderful for their motivation, self-esteem, and so on and so on, and also for their interest to improve their work. Like for example, if your child made a drawing, you don't just say, oh, nice drawing. You can say like, wow, how did you make this effect? How did you manage to draw it so, I don't know, wonderfully or something? How did you manage to combine the colors together? What helped you to do that? And this can be, first of all, wonderful for your relationships. Secondly, can improve your child's self-esteem and make it more solid, like based on their understanding how they do things, instead of just, you know, like kind of remarks from outside. And it's just wonderful, wonderful technique. So this is about positive, like the person is coming and telling you about something they achieved, something they did, something they managed, something positive that happened in their life. And You can ask them, how did you manage to do that? Wow, that's so wonderful. Or it can be not just a question, it can be just your opinion, like, wow, it's so wonderful that you have so many wonderful friends. Sounds like you really know how to maintain the relationship. How do you manage it? Something like that. If the person doesn't share, you can also ask something first, like, you have such pretty voice. Did you do singing or something? Because it sounds so nice, it sounds so melodic. Did you do anything for that? And then the person might start talking about their singing in the childhood or something, or just be flattered. So yes, this is when it comes to positives. But when it comes to negatives, it's pretty much the same. You are asking questions directed not at the problem, but at how the person managed to conquer this problem. Like, for example, your friend is telling you they are depressed, and you can ask them, wow, this is really serious, and I see you manage pretty well still, that you're fighting it, that you are trying to get out of it. You can even compliment them for sharing this with you and ask them how do they manage to share their emotions and feelings with others, because maybe you don't have this easy capacity yet. Um, so basically, you can ask them how they manage to survive in that situation they are in, how they manage to still fight against it, how they manage to still find meaning, how they manage to still find hope and energy to not give up and to try to talk with people and let them know how they're feeling, and so on and so on. So you are trying, you are kind of seeing and admiring their effort, their struggle, their whole like life situation, and asking them how they managed to do it. And this question is really supportive. It really helps the person to see how they can be strong and how they can be brave, and maybe it helps them see that they have friends and family who support them. It helps them see all the wonderful things that are still in their life that help them to hold on. So instead of focusing only on the negative, we kind of focus on all the things that are still supporting that person. Same if somebody tells you they got sick or something like that, you can ask them, how did you manage to survive like that and to still talk with me, for example? How do you manage to have the energy? How do you manage to support yourself in this period of time, and so on and so on. This positive line of questioning is really wonderful. However, with some people it might not be easy, because not everyone is used to thinking about their life or themselves in positive ways, so it can be difficult to accept, just like accepting compliments. But this, I just recommend you using it, like really, really. It improves relationships, it supports the other person, and also it makes you much happier as a person, because mm, walking around and noticing something admirable in others, something that you can appreciate and discuss with them and share with them and make them feel wonderful in your eyes, is really wonderful for you as well. Like, it's much more interesting and fun to live surrounded by people you admire and not by people you find problems with. So your home task for this thing would be trying to ask this kind of positive question when somebody is sharing basically anything. If they share their successes, if they share their failures, if they share some misfortune they encountered, and so on. You can also ask this question yourself, like, how did I manage to do that, or how did I manage to do this? And actually, I even recommend you making like kind of a diary, where you write down what you managed to do today, and asking yourself, how did I do this? Why did I manage to do it? Because oftentimes our life is full of methods, techniques, life hacks that are already working for us, but we just don't notice them. Instead, we are trying to find new information in books or videos or internet or some smart people or whatever. But maybe we are already doing things the right way, and asking ourselves, how do I do this? How do I manage to do that? Can help us get a lot of insight in how our brain is working, in what is suitable for us or not. So this is wonderful technique both to yourself, to your family members, to your colleagues, by the way, or if you have like subordinates in your job, it's also nice to ask. Even like your manager, it's nice to ask those things. So it's basically like a gem for any kind of relationship. And at least in my life, I remember such people even like 10 years afterwards, if they were like this attentive and listening and admiring something in me. They are like stuck in my memory, like my additional support, and I have very warm feelings about them, even if we don't talk so much. So you have the chance of being such a person for the people who surround you, and being such a person to yourself. And in general, it just makes your life much happier, because you get used to noticing things you admire, and you get used to asking, how do I manage, instead of asking why everything is so horrible. So yes, your home task would be practicing this kind of uh, positive questioning with 2-3 people around you during a week, and paying attention to how it works. And also, if the person is sharing some kind of difficult situation, you can first use our empathy technique or our active listening technique, and only then start this positive questioning. Because of course, if someone is very upset, maybe they are not ready to think about positive question replies. And also, I encourage you to take this as extra task, and making it some kind of like a diary where you write down things that you managed to do, and you note how you managed to do them. Because each of us works, each of us has brains that work in very unique way. So we can find new wonderful ideas on how to manage our life if we analyze what we already managed to do. So yes, I hope this video was useful, and make sure to put a like and write a comment and subscribe and share it with your friends and family and so on, so that we can spread some usefulness around the world. And I hope that you are having wonderful day, and please write down in the comments how was the result of this experiment of doing this positive questioning technique. It's really wonderful. And by the way, let me do some examples for you, because maybe it's not that clear yet. Yeah, let's do several more examples. For example, the person is telling you that they broke up with their partner. First, you can do empathy, active listening, and then you can ask them, how did you manage to make this decision? It sounds like such a difficult decision. How do you manage to do it? And then they can describe like what helped them, what kind of thought process they had, and so on. And it really is wonderful to share that. Or you can ask them like something like, yes, breaking up is so difficult. I can see that you're struggling, but you're still like not giving up, and you are doing so well considering the circumstances. How do you manage to do it so well? And then they can reply to you. And here it's very important not to get discouraged by simple reply like, I don't know, I don't do anything special. Because oftentimes we are not used to thinking about what we already do well, so we are not used to replying to those things. So it's nice to just give the person some time to actually think about it and reflect on it, and then share some of their wisdom or life hacks or whatever helps them. Next example, um, for example, your friend is telling you, oh, I managed to cook for myself today, and you ask them like, wow, how do you manage it? It sounds like a big task to organize, like you need to buy food, you need to prepare, you need to plan what you're gonna cook, and so on and so on. How do you manage it? It might sound silly, but I am the person who struggles with cooking, so for me it is admirable. um, yes. And what other examples can it be? If the person is telling you about some kind of conflict they were in, and you can ask them, like, for example, in this conflict, they didn't kill the other person, so they showed wonders of self-control. You can ask them, like, how do you manage to control yourself and not just kill the other person? I'm sorry, I have weird examples as always. um, or like in this conflict they didn't curse the other person, and you ask them like, wow, how did you manage to do that? Or after this conflict they still managed to go to their work and continue working despite stress in this conflict, and you can ask them like, how do you manage all this stress? How do you manage to still work and all that? What helps you? And so on. And it can be like a wonderful point to start a conversation, especially because many people really don't have opportunity to reflect on their strong sides, on what they already do well in company with somebody else, even in their own company. So asking something like this instantly makes you stand out of everybody else, instead of discussing some problems or why everything is horrible or what needs to be fixed about the person. You are discussing what is admirable about them and what is wonderful and what is working for them. So yes, it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful technique. I really hope you take it and use it in your life. And of course, at first it might be a bit clumsy, but that's fine. Clumsiness is normal for beginners. So you take it and you practice it, and then you'll see it really, really improves your life. So I hope you do it and you see the change in your relationships, in your own life, and so on. I also really recommend this technique if you feel shy around others, if you feel insecure around others, because kind of learning to admire someone else and talking about what you like in them can really paradoxically increase your own self-esteem, and also it makes you focus on the other person and their world instead of on your own insecurities. So it's wonderful technique if you don't know what to talk about and so on, or even just for small talk. It's also pretty good. Okay, and I see you next week. We're gonna continue with communication skills, and please share this video. And I like you and I love you. Bye bye. By the way, write to me please how you managed to finish watching the video until the end. What helps you and what doesn't, so that I know what to improve and what is perfect already. And I see you next time. Bye bye.